doing a podcast, it's very interesting when, when the camera's not on you and we're in this conversation where everything around us feels like it's more natural. But then when you're on the set and the camera comes on, all of a sudden it's like, what happens?
Yeah, this energy just starts to like bubble up and well up inside of you. You have to like try to harness it and ride it, and sometimes it gets away from you, and sometimes you just got to ride it and go along with whatever's coming out.
I know. I dig it though. It's such an interesting thing to try and formulate thoughts, and how you and I talk. We share all these stories at work, and to see it come together where there's a place that we can just kind of all be ourselves, it's just really neat. I love it.
Yeah, it is. It's such a cool thing to see how the podcasting industry has exploded in a way that you really can find information, you can find entertainment, you can learn so much from so many different perspectives and angles. You can just really anything you can think of, you can find information about, and it's entertaining, and it's you can broaden your horizons in all kinds of different ways. I just love it.
Yeah,
so much
me
fun. But
too.
yeah, it's an interesting brain space to be in, to try to formulate and be articulate and still be moving. And
try and be succinct about what you're trying to get out. Like you have this huge life. I want to put it in like a 10-minute conversation and want everybody to learn the best of me, and then pop, I think it's gonna be more of like an ongoing conversation over the months. There'd be some reoccurring reasons to, come back on and share a little more. I think there's something to the idea of this bottom up conversation to me, and realizing like there's no pretense built around it. Like nobody's trying to market this podcast in a way that it's a revenue based scenario. It's literally conversations with friends that is being recorded. And how do we get to this place where that essence comes out of it, man? Because every time you and I get a chance to work together, it just, bro, there's so much that comes out of that. I leave like I'm missing my best friend from fucking summer camp every time.
Yeah, it really is. It's an engaging way to be outside of ourselves, but also to reconnect with what our core values are in an industry where sometimes that can disappear. As I think that you can get caught up in the grind of oh, I got to get that next job. I got to do that next thing. I got to make sure that I'm showing up and everybody's looking at me, but you also like need to take that time to reconnect with yourself. And I think that's a good thing for the two of us, is that we have an outlet to just step outside of that experience and be able to talk about stuff that we care about that's really passionate and important to us.
You couldn't say it any better, man. That last program when we were in San Francisco, I was wound up. And as soon as you and I were eating a burger at Super Burger, I'm like, dude, I feel better. Like there's something about this whole ideal. And for me, I don't try and fight anymore for this understanding that I can hold on to. I'm just like literally exploding, right? Oh, there's your little one there. Exploding into this idea of expansion and just accepting like I'm just the cog in the wheel.
Yeah.
I'm not part of it. I'm not part of the main plan, but I'm enjoying the ride.
Yeah, and that is something that I'm definitely relearning once again this year. Is the tighter you hold on to stuff, the more prone it is to slip away. And so it's much better to just accept and move on and just let the chips fall. You got to put the work in and do all your stuff and make sure you're checking yourself. But holding on tight and holding a grudge and doing all that kind of stuff just doesn't benefit anybody.
Well, in your family, like this is a big thing I've noticed too, is like your move from LA to Boulder, or not Boulder, but Colorado Springs.
Colorado Springs, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like you made that decision for family, for the right reasons in what was needed. And I've had some similar scenarios around my life over the last few years that we've shared. And I think that the coolest part is like, it's not about focusing like on the acting career. It's about focusing on your life and enjoying this flow and allowing the other pieces to fall together, because they will. You don't need to look for them or shoot for them, because even if we were to look back on like our conversations from 5 years ago to now, I remember throwing up all over you about this idea of light and what I was seeing and how exciting it was. And I was just learning that not being in the casino industry was fun. And like there was other things I could do, and just to have the experience being around people that were already, exploring that lifestyle for me was so comforting to know like, well, Colter can do it. I can keep going too.
Yeah. This has definitely been just to really take that step back and really evaluate, because it was one of those things where I was just getting more and more tight and frustrated with where my career was going out there and trying to find that balance, because it's the whole thing with, we travel for our job, and that makes it even more difficult to get into the acting thing. So you have the two things that you're trying to juggle all the time is the balance of being home, so you can do auditions, you can be available. You also have to make money, so you have to travel and do the other
Yeah.
things. So you're trying to bring your I had to bring my hotel setup, so I had to bring lights and camera and microphone and all that stuff just so I could potentially record auditions while I'm in a hotel room, while I'm in the
Yeah.
middle of working 12 to 16-hour days. And so it was just
Yeah.
it was just so much, and it is one of those things that, like, I was starting to get a little bit burnt out, and so this has definitely been a year where I'm like relearning to slow it down a little bit
Cool.
and really try to be there and be present for my family and for my wife
Yeah.
and for my son and our soon-to-be
Yeah.
daughter. And so this has definitely been one of those things where it's like, as hard as it was to let go of that time in my life, I know that it's just going to prepare me and propel me forward when the time is right again.
You know it. Bro, you're in the right mental momentum for sure on that. Yesterday, I was excited to record podcasts because I just love this thing. But I kept hearing this voice telling me to be with my granddaughter yesterday a little bit.
Mm,
And my wife makes this effort to bring her out to the ranch. And I spend all day working. I mean, that's just, I'm a crazy fool like that. And just next to me is, the reason why. And I said to myself, like, when it hit me, like, oh, I got these things to do. And then I thought, no, you don't, bro. You need to do what it just said. And so my wife and I took my granddaughter we live next to this reservoir lake and just laid in the sand for a little bit and let the wind like come over the water and watch her run around. And it fulfilled me in a way I could never have done enough work to feel.
yeah.
And I think that that's the magical part of this balance that you and I are learning is like, it's not showing everybody we made this career work that we were fighting for, and then we have a family. It's like, it's all part of the same experience. And
Yeah.
we have to integrate. And the more we learn how to integrate, the more the other will expand. And we just keep kind of breathing into it, realizing like all these things that seem like a challenge of the lesson. And the other side of that lesson is that beautiful wet grass that we're looking for. We just have to
Mm,
be patient and enjoy the fact that we're hanging out with each other and got good friends. It's one thing I've taken away from this podcast experience, and I call it my passion project, is that, I couldn't have done it without all these friends. And I've
yeah.
realized, like, for 5 years, I've built some amazing relationships with people, and we have a good time just rapping for no good reason, man. It's a cool thing.
Yeah, yeah, and that is the coolest thing about this is you have this industry is you meet people from every part of the states and people from all over the globe, but you get to see so many people come at it from such a different experience and such a different stage in life. Some people are retired and they're done with the whole thing that they've done, and but you get to hear stories about them with the 30 years that they did something else entirely, and now this is just their fun side gig. And for some people
Yeah,
they're just getting into. We meet so many of the igniters and the young
crazy.
people, and they're just
Yeah,
getting started at it, and you get to share a little bit of knowledge with them and help them
yeah.
take that next step, and it's such a
Uh,
cool experience.
it is.